Hi everybody, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 43. In this lesson, we are going to cover the least common multiple and the least common multiple of algebraic expressions. We've probably already done least common multiple before. That's how you find out what your new denominator is going to be on a addition problem. So like 1/3 plus 1/4. If we're given the numbers 4, 5, and 8, the smallest number that is evenly divisible by each of the numbers is called the least common multiple, or LCM. The steps for finding the least common multiple. Write each number as a product of prime factors. Use every factor of the given number as a factor of the least common multiple. Use each factor the greatest number of times it is a factor in any of the numbers. Now that sounds confusing, but it's actually really easy. So we're going to start with step 1, which is write each number as a product of prime factors. So we're going to prime factor each of these, and these are pretty easy. So for 4, that one's really easy. That's just 2 times 2. 5 is already prime. And then 8 would be 2 times 4. And then 4 is 2 times 2. So then our next step is use every factor of the given number as a factor of the LCM. So we got to use a 2 and a 5. Use every factor the greatest number of times it is a factor in any number. So we got to find out how many times each one of these is a factor in each number. So for this one, we've got 2 twice. This one we have 5 once, and this one we've got 2 times 2 times 2. I'm just rewriting it. Alright, so our two numbers are 2 and 5. The most amount of times, the greatest amount of times 2 is used is right here, and it's 3 times. So we need 2 3 times. And then our 5 is just used once right there. So we're going to include the 5. And then we just multiply this out. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. And 40 is the least common multiple of 4, 5, and 8. Alright, let's try one that's a little more complex. This one is 18, 81, and 500. Alright, so we'll start with 18. So for 18, I could say 9 times 2, and then 9 would be 3 times 3. I've got 2, 3, 3. So 2 times 3 times 3. For 81, that's 9 times 9, and those are each 3 times 3. So I've got 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 4 times. Alright, and then for 500, I'm going to say 100 times 5, and 100 is 25 times 4, and then that's 20 times, or no, that's 5 times 5, and then 4 is 2 times 2. So for this one, I've got 2 times 2 times 5 is 1, 2, 3 times. Okay. Now, we're going to do the second part where we find out what is the greatest time each factor has been used. Alright, so our first factor is 2, and it's used once here and twice there. So the greatest number of times that 2 is used is twice. 3 is our next factor, and the greatest number of times that it's used is here, so that's 4 times. And then 5 is our last factor, and the most times it's used is right there, that's 3 times. Okay, now we have to multiply this all out. And it may be tempting to say 3 times 4. It is not 3 times 4, it is 3 to the 4th, so 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. We can use a calculator. It's easier to just group these, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then 3 times 3 is 9, and then another 3 times 3 is 9, and 5 times 5 is 25, and then another 5, and then we could say 9 times 9 is 81, and then we could say 5 times 4 is 20, and then we've got the 25. Now I'm just going to multiply these with my calculator. So 81 times 25 times 20. 81 times 25 times 20. And I get 40,500. So the answer is 40,500. And that's my answer. So group them first and multiply them with your calculator. Or you could just go to your calculator and say 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5 times 5. For me, it's easier to group them, then I don't get mixed up on how many I've typed in there. Alright, so let's do some examples. The first one is 43.1. It says find the least common multiple of 8, 15, and 100. Alright, so I'm going to start with 8. And 8 is 2 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. So I've got 2 times 2 times 2. 15, I would say that's 3 times 5. That's it. So I've got 3 times 5. And then 100 is going to be, we could say 50 times 2. And then 50 would be 5 times 10. And 10 is 5 times 2. So I've got 2, 2. And then I've got 5 and 5. Okay, so now I got to figure out all these factors, what is the greatest amount of times that each factor is used. So for my 2's, the greatest amount of times is 3 times. For my 3's, it's 1 time. And for my 5's, it's twice. Right, now I just have to multiply that out. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 8 is 24. And then 5 times 5 is 25. So I just need to multiply 24 times 25 in my calculator. And I get 600. And that's the answer to that one. Alright, let's try 43.2. This one is 30, 75, and 80. So I'll start with 30, which will be 3 times 10, and that would be 2 times 5. And if you put them in order, it helps. So the 2, and then 3, and then 5. Alright, 75 has, let's see, that's 3 times 25. And 25 is 5 times 5. So we've got 3 times 5 times 5. And then 80 would be 8 times 10. And that would be 2 times 4. And that would be 2 times 2. And then 10 is 2 times 5. So I've got to 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then I've got 5 once. Alright, now I need to find out what I'm going to be multiplying here. So for 2, the greatest amount of times it's used is right here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, the most it's used is once on both of those. We're just going to have it once as a factor. And then 5 is used twice right here. This one has it once, this one has it once, that one has it twice. So 1, 2. Alright, now we can just multiply these out. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 3 is 75. So I just need to multiply 16 times 75. And that's 1,200. The answer to this one is 1,200. Alright, not too complicated. Let's try the next example. Alright, this one's got some really big numbers. So that's going to be a little more complicated. They're going to give you ones like this. Alright, so first I've got 560. I'm going to say that's 56 times 10. Anytime you end with a 0, go with times 10. 56 is 7 times 8 is 56, and 8 would be 2 times 4, and then 4 would be 2 times 2, and 10 is going to be 5 times 2. Alright, so when I write that one out, I need to be careful to keep all these in order. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 2s, and then a 5, and a 7. Okay, the next one is 588. That one I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to say 588. I'm going to try dividing that by 4. 147. So that'd be 4 times 147. Now, can 147 divide by 3? Yes, 49 times 3. So I'm going to say 49 times 3, and my 4 will be 2 times 2. Now my 49 is 7 times 7. Alright, so I've got 2 and 2. And then I've got a 3. And then I've got 2 7s. Alright, and then the next one is 1250. Alright, I'm going to say 125 times 10. And 125 is 5 times 25. 25 is 5 times 5. And then 10 is 5 times 2. So I've got a 2. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 5s. Okay, so now we're just going to look at these and figure out what numbers we're going to multiply to get our answer. Alright, so the most times that 2 is used is right here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. The most times that 3 is used is right there. The most times that 5 is used is right here. That's 4 of them. And the most times 7 is used is right there. 7 is used twice. Okay. Now I have to multiply all this out. So I'm just going to group them. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 times 5 is 125. And then 7 times 7 is 49. So now I need to calculate that out. 16 times 15. And then we've got 125 and 49. And all that equals 1,470,000. I knew this would be a big one. And that's the answer right there to that one. Alright, so when it's bigger ones, we're definitely going to have to do that method. Alright, so now we're going to do something a little bit different. This one is about algebraic expressions. Wait, I think I've got that written wrong there. 15a squared b. Okay, so that's supposed to be squared. Let me write that squared in there. It's supposed to be 15a squared b. Okay. All right, so if I write this one out, this first one, 15, the factors of 15 would be 3 and 5. And then a squared would be a times a, and then b would just be 1b. All right, now if I write this one out, the factors of 10 are 5 times 2. Actually, let me do that in the right order here. 2 times 5, and then I've got 1a, and I've got 3 b's. 1, 2, 3. All right, so the greatest number of times that I'm using 2 as a factor is once. The greatest number of times I'm using 3 is once. The greatest number of times I'm using 5 is once. The greatest number of times I'm using a is twice. The greatest number of times I'm using b is 3 times. Now I just need to multiply that out. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. So it's going to be 30 a squared b to the third. Now if we look at this, we didn't have to write out b times b times b times b. I know that the greatest number of times I'm using a as a factor is twice because squared. And the greatest number of times b is to the third. So you just look at the exponent, and whichever one has the highest exponent, that's what you're going to go with. All right, let's try another one like that. All right, so this one's got 4 and 6. And the multiples of 4 are going to be 2 times 2. And then we're going to have x squared m. The multiples of 6 are going to be 2 times 3. And we're going to have x to the third m. All right, so we're going to use 2 twice and 3 once. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. So 12. The highest number of times we're using x is x to the third. And the highest number of times we're using m is just 1 time. So m. So we should have 12x to the third m. All right, one more. All right, so first I'm going to figure out find the least common multiple of 12x squared am squared and 14x to the third am to the fourth. So first I'm going to find out my 12 and my 14. So 12 would be 2 times 3, no, 2 times 6, which would be 2 times 3. So I've got 2, 2, and 3. And for 14, we're going to do 2 times 7. And that's it. All right, so we're going to use 2 twice. I'm going to use both of these 2's, this 3 and this 7. So 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 7 is 84. So basically all I did was say 2 times 3, and then 2 times 7, and I know I have to use both of these. I have to use that one and that one. I multiplied all those together. All right, so 84, and then x. The most times that I'm using x is x to the third right there. So it's going to be the third. A, the highest number of a's, is just 1. And then m, the highest number of m's, is going to be this m to the fourth. All right, I hope that made sense to everybody. I did this one a little different. I skipped, like, I didn't write each thing out. Could have written it out, so I could have done, this one had x squared, a, m squared, and this one had x to the third, a, m to the fourth. Then I said I was doing those 3, and then to the third, and then A, and then M to the 4th. And it comes out to that is the answer. Alright, so that was the last example. Didn't mean to do that. Now we're going to work the practice problems. So pause the video and do all the practice problems. Yay! So, hope you paused the video, and now we're back to work the practice problems. A says find the least common multiple of 14, 20, and 30. Alright, to do that, I'm going to start with 14, and that is 2 times 7. 20 would be 2 times 10, and that is 2 times 5. And then 30 is going to be 3 times 10, and that's 2 times 5. Okay, so I'm going to use 2 twice. That one's got 2 2's in it. For my 3's, I'm just going to use it once. My 5's, I've got 1 here, 1 there. Okay, 1 time for 5. And then my 7's, I've only got 1 time for 7. Okay, and then I just have to multiply this. So 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 7 times 5 is 35. So I'm going to multiply those on my calculator. 35 times 12 is 420. So the answer to this one is 420. That's the answer to A. Alright, let's try this one. 75, 120, and 315. These numbers are a little bit bigger. Go with a nice green color. Alright, so 75. That's going to be 3 times 25, and that would be 5 times 5. So this one I've got 3, 5, and 5. 120, I'm going to say 12 times 10. 12 is 3 times 4. 4 is 2 times 2. And that one is 5 times 2. So I've got 2, 1, 2, 3 2's. 3, and a 5. Okay, and then the last one is 315, and I know for sure that'll divide by 3. Let's see. It would go 105, I think. Let's try it. 315 divided by 3 equals 105. Alright, and then we're going to divide that by 5, 21. So our 105 would be 5 times 21. And 21 would be 3 times 7. So this one I've got a 3 and a 3. And a 5 and a 7. Okay, so now I just need to figure out what I'm going to multiply to get my least common multiple. I've got 2 used 3 times right there. 3 used twice right there. 5 used twice right there. And then 7 just used 1 time. Now I have to multiply all these together. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 5 is 25. And then times 7. And I could do 25 times 8 because 25 times 4 is 100. So 25 times 8 would be 200. And then 9 times 7 is 63. I'll go to my calculator. 63 times 200. 12,600. And that is correct. So that is the answer to B. Alright, C is one of the algebraic ones. 6 and 4. I know that the least common multiple. Let's see, 6 times. Let's actually just work that one out. I almost could do it in my head. I would say that it's probably 12. 4 is 2 times 2. And then 6 is 2 times 3. So for the 4, I've got 2 times 2 times a to the third times b to the fourth. That's this one. Alright, this one, I've got 2 times 3 times a to the 10th times b squared. Alright, so I'm going to use 2 twice and 3 once. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. Yep, it's 12. And then for A, I'm going to use this one because it's 10 times. That's the highest. And then for B, I'm going to use that one because it's 4 times. 12a to the 10th, b to the 4th. Alright, and one more practice problem. Let's go with pink. Alright, so first we're going to do this one. 12, that was, see, 12 is 2 times 6, and then 6 is 2 times 3. So this one's got 2 times 2 times 3. And then we have x to the 4th, y squared, m to the 3rd. Okay. And now this one, 20. 2 times 10, and that would be 2 times 5. So we've got 2 times 2 times 5. And we have x to the 6th, y, and m to the 3rd. Alright, so we're going to use 2 twice, 3 once, 5 once. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. And 20 times 3 would be 60. Let me do that again to make sure. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. Yep, 60. Alright, so for my x, I'm going to go with this one. It's the highest. X to the 6th. My y, I'm going to go with that one. It's the highest. Y squared. And then m, they're both the same, so it's just m to the 3rd. And that's the answer to that one. Alright, so if you have any questions, or you're not sure how to work some of these, just leave them blank and I'll work them in class. And you can always go back and watch the video as many times as you need to. There's the answers to those practice problems. And remember, all the answers to the practice problems are in the back of your book as well. Alrighty, thank you, bye.